We're going to call to order the Economic Development Authority meeting here this morning, Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, 7:30 a.m. Would you please call the roll?
Bevins.
Here.
Beezer.
Here.
Grasula.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kirsch.
Here.
O'Day.
Here.
Yeager.
Yes. Pledge allegiance, folks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item here is an approval of the agenda. That's item number 4. Do we have a motion to approve? We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, we have an agenda. First thing is our consent calendar. This notice to the public that all matters are considered routine by the board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the board votes on the motion, and we will adopt this by roll call. This includes the approval of the minutes, the financial report, Swanson Hascamp report, DDBC report, Visit Brainerd report, and the Blade Deck report. Do we have a motion to approve
Approval Johnson.
Second, Bevins.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Isn't there
Roll call, sorry. Roll call, please.
Bevins.
Yes.
Beezer.
Yes.
Grasula.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Kirsch.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes. Very good. We have an approval of the consent calendar. We have no unfinished business this morning, so we're going to go jump right to item number 7. This is new business. This is an update by the DDBC. I believe Marie will be taking that. Thank you.
Yeah, so just wanted to give an update on the work to date that we've been doing. I do just have a handout that kind of has some of our key activities and goals, so if that's helpful to reference, I can just pass those around. But just a reminder that we're a DDBC, Destination Downtown Brainerd Coalition, is a volunteer-led grassroots organization. We formed in around 2018 to help lead initiatives to promote and revitalize downtown Brainerd. So right now our boundary area encompasses about 94 businesses, and we have an organization committee that meets monthly to track progress on goals and plan for upcoming events and initiatives. And then we do have ad hoc committees that meet typically for planning our bigger events and bigger initiatives throughout the year. And kind of our overall goal for this year was really to engage with more business owners in the downtown area, build up our organization committee, and just really leverage all the talents and relationships that we have in downtown Brainerd to help move our goals forward. And our key activities are kind of grouped into 4 key areas, and I can just kind of go through each of those and talk about some key activities that we've been doing this year. So promotion, that's really focused on marketing and communicating what makes the downtown special and to help support the buy local experience. So part of that piece is maintaining our website and our social media presence. We have a Facebook page with about 2,500 followers right now, and we also, as part of that, manage a private business owners group that has about 27 members right now, so that's a really great tool for us to communicate with each other about different things going on in downtown that affect business owners and operations. And then some of our key special events would be Spooktacular, so that's our October Halloween event. It's a very popular event. I think last year we got about 1,000 people walking through downtown Brainerd. And then we also have our Small Business Saturday event that's after Thanksgiving, and then throughout December we have our Hometown Holidays activities that we organize. And throughout the year, we also just do organize some shopping promotions. This past March, we did a Lucky Clover scavenger hunt to kind of encourage people to be shopping downtown, and it's a great way to just engage the community and get them participating in events downtown. Moving on to economic vitality. So this focus areas, looking at improving economic performance and supporting development and growth of new and existing businesses in downtown. One of the key activities we do in this area are the business owner social events. So these are quarterly events that we hold, and we invite the downtown business owners, but we've kind of expanded it because we do really just want to increase our reach and get people from across the Brainerd business community to attend those. We just feel like it's a great way for us to network and learn about what's going on in the community. So our last one was just held recently at the Parlor in downtown, and we have 2 more upcoming ones planned in October and in January. And then a new thing we've been doing starting this, I think it really got going earlier this summer, was organizing business visits. So these are held monthly, and we really try to recruit newer businesses, or maybe ones that maybe we just want to learn more about, and just engage with those business owners to have them share what makes their business unique and special. So it's open to downtown business owners to attend, and we've opened it up to EDA commissioners and city staff. And I just think it's a good way to connect and learn about kind of what some key concerns are for those businesses, and just, again, have them share what they're doing and why they chose to have their business in downtown. So part of our scope of services for EDA is to work on some promotional videos to promote downtown and to kind of get more businesses down there. So we're looking to kind of tie that in with those business visits. So we're in talks right now with a couple of videographers to just see if there's a way for us to kind of tack on some interviews to those business visits, and that'll help us get those promotional videos out. That's part of our EDA scope of services. And moving on to the design area of the activities we do. So this is focused on improving physical and visual components and creating an inviting and inclusive atmosphere within downtown. This spring, we organized a downtown cleanup day. We had about, I'd say, like 10 business owners and individuals that came and showed up to just help clean up some of the bump outs and the landscaping around there. And I'd say we logged about 100 plus volunteer hours towards cleaning up those public spaces. And I think it was just a good way to engage folks in downtown and create some interest in what can we do. That it was a simple thing to do and to organize to just make a really big visual difference in the downtown area. We also applied for some Main Street deed grant funding in conjunction with Brainerd Restoration. So we acquired about $3,000 in funding towards a project that's overall budget is around $11,000, and we're focused on improving the streetscapes, and we're looking to add what's called a parklet, so kind of a little seating area in downtown, and the location for that is going to be kind of right near Fancy Pants, that bump out area. And I think that's a really key need, both for engaging community and creating a more visually appealing area, but also for me as a business owner, I know like there's no place for me to just like go on a lunch break and sit and hang out. So I think it's gonna really overall have a great benefit to everybody that visits downtown and works down there. We're also part of, Brenda sits on the committee for the lights, so I know that's a big focus, is trying to engage those dollars to really make a nice visual impact, particularly around the holidays. So we're looking forward to kind of incorporating some new light elements in downtown coming up. And then we also work with the city and BPU to coordinate the light pole banners that go up. So we have 2 sets currently, a set of holiday ones and then some kind of standard ones that are up the rest of the year. And we're hoping to coordinate adding a new series of banners within the coming year to kind of have another round of banners that can go up throughout the year. And then finally, under organization, so this is really focused on cultivating those partnerships and community involvement and trying to help us get the resources we need to accomplish all of our goals. So as I mentioned, we have an organizational committee that meets monthly, and we, like I said, we've been working on engaging more business owners downtown. So we welcomed 2 new members to our organizational committee this past year, and they've been really great. And we're looking forward to working with Estelle Evanson from Bremer. Is really jazzed about getting some cool stuff going for Spooktacular, so she's going to take the lead on organizing that. And then Paula from Yesterday's Gone has been a great resource to have on our committee as well. And we're continuing to kind of build out those relationships and get more people on that committee to help take the lead on kind of those other subcommittees that have to happen for our other events and activities to take place. But kind of our big accomplishment for this year was achieving that associate designation through the Main Street America program. So there's kind of a tiered process for getting like becoming an official Main Street city, but we've kind of achieved that first step of getting the associate designation. And this involved kind of a lengthy process we had to fill out an application and set district boundaries so that we could really track key metrics within the boundaries and make sure we're tracking progress on those things. So we're looking at things like vacancy rates and number of businesses and those sorts of things so that we can really see if our efforts, if they're having the positive impact we're wanting. And so a key date I will highlight is August 28th. We are scheduled to have a meeting with Minnesota Main Street Program. It's their organization is called Rethos, and they have a staff member that will be coming on August 28th. And part of that visit is going to be doing a tour of downtown to familiarize them with our downtown area, and also a meeting that's going to be open to business owners and other key stakeholders. So we would invite EDA commissioners and city staff to attend that as well, and we will forward on those details when you hammer down the exact times for that. But that's going to be a great opportunity for them to share what their organization is about and how they'll be working with us and local stakeholders to really make the most impact. And part of that Main Street programming, I really benefited from attending. We've been attending a series of online classes. So the first one we attended was one on sustainable organizations, and it was really helpful to kind of see the framework that Main Street America program has and kind of some really great tools that we can use to just continue to grow our organization. And just some other things I'll tag on. We did meet with Allison from Bladec, who brought to our attention that Bladec had received some grant money to look at an app called Placer AI that has some pretty amazing capabilities in terms of tracking consumer data, and we're really hoping to leverage that for our reporting to Main Street, and also just to see like how impactful are the events that we're holding, because it can track things like how many people are coming down at during certain times, and where are they going after they come downtown, where are they before they come here. So it'll really just help us kind of plan better and really just get the community more engaged, just knowing like what that consumer behavior is like. So that's really the recap of what I have. If anybody has any questions or comments or wanted to chat more, I'm happy to take any questions.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions?
I just have the one. For the visits of the businesses downtown, are you going to contact Tony so that the EDA knows what days and what locations those are?
Yeah, I know we've tried to have our email list with having commissioner emails on there, but it sounds like we might be missing some people. So we'll take a look at that and make sure we get everybody on that email list, because they're held monthly. The times can kind of vary because we try to work with business owners on what time is most convenient for them, but they're usually like between 9 and 10 a.m. or like 5 and 6. So yeah, we'll make sure to get you added.
All right, thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions? Very good. Thank you for the report. We'll move on to item number B. This is the update on the YMCA child care facility. James, do you want to kick this off, or we want to go right over to Shane?
I think we can just go right to Shane.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Riffle. Come on up.
Mr. Riffle, I don't hear that often. It's usually Y guy or Shane or who knows what. But it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me today. We're really excited about the plans and where we are today with the child care project. But it was great to hear about the DDBC. And just to let you all know that, we look at everything we do through multiple lenses. The first lens, obviously, is our mission. We develop strong and healthy youth. We help people live healthy lives, and we're socially responsible. But also, we consider what can we do to strengthen the downtown business district. As sitting here on the corner, we know that what we do is important to downtown, and we want to be a part of that community. And so thank you for the update, and I appreciate hearing that as well. So I think I know most of you, but I'm Shane Riffle. I'm the CEO of the Brainerd Family YMCA. And these are just great times for us. We're on the cusp of doing something that's really transformative, not just for our organization, but for the community. We've done economic impact studies, we've done a lot of research, and we're in the front end of a comprehensive capital campaign. And the very first part of that is our child care project. So today I'd like to share with you where we've been and why there was the need, but also what we've done and where we are today and what we can look forward to. So I guess I'm going to jump back to 2020, and the Initiative Foundation and Bladec put together a child care supply group, of which the Y was a part of, as also was the city of Brainerd, and Jennifer sat on that committee. And we did a scan and looked around the region, not just the community, but the region, and identified a need of at least 1,200 childcare spots that were needed to help kids get a quality start in life, but also provide workers for our workforce. So we decided that we were going to take action. And we started doing research, looking at the why. How can we be a part of that solution? We know that we're not the only one, that there are many home care providers that are needed, that other centers need to expand capacity. But we felt that we were primed and ready to add on to what we can do to that solution. So we started looking at different pro forma models, and resulted in, we applied and received a deed grant back in 2021, which allowed us to purchase the property at the 703 Oak Street. I don't tell many people, it used to be the funeral home. Some people get a little weird about that, but it's going to be where our daycare site sits, and we appropriately named it the Fun Home. So we took funeral, shortened it down to Fun Home, and that's what we call it for now. But it'll eventually be our first expanded childcare center. So we began fundraising and went through about a year of that, and to date we've raised about $1.156 million, and that is through a grant from Crow Wing County, which was part of their ARPA funding, and that was $456,000. We were honored to receive some congressionally directed spending, otherwise known as an earmark, for $600,000. And then you all recommended, and we received one of the Main Street revitalization grants for $100,000. Now, through current estimates and increases in construction and other soft costs, plus some unanticipated expenses that are associated with the project, the budget now is about $1.6 million, which our board's approved, and that leaves about a $440,000 gap. As part of our comprehensive capital campaign, which is not only the daycare, but rebuilding a brand new Y on our current site, 602 Oak Street. We're also going to be renovating Camp Vanasek, doing some work out at the Gull Lake Sailing School, and then we're also on the master plan with Central Lakes College to put a year-round indoor turf sports complex down on the campus. So as a part of that process, we've hired a fundraising firm called Donor by Design, and we're going to be looking at bridging that $440,000 gap. So progress at 703 Oak Street so far. We've received, through you all and the City Council, a conditional use permit. Other permit submittals are in progress, which Widseth is working on and Norson. A licensing application is nearly ready for submittal, which Macy, our director, is working on. And we have groundbreaking ceremony. Actually, groundbreaking is actually set for September 5th, and we're going to be doing a ceremonial groundbreaking ceremony on September 7th, and you guys will all be invited. Taking one step back real quick, I forgot to mention who our team is. Obviously, our staff and board and volunteers are working on this, but we did put out an RFP, and we've recently hired Norson and Woodseth to be our construction and design teams. So they've been doing a great job working with Tom Wackles, who is our project manager with Orb Management, and they're based out of Alexandria, Minnesota. And he's been with us for about 1.5 years now. But the team's working fantastically together. And one of the things that I'm really proud of, which we looked at the other day, all of the subs and contractors and vendors that we're looking at for this project, it's 100% local with one group that's regional out of Fergus Falls. So we're committed to doing everything we can to develop and enhance the local economy as well. So that was where we're at. Right now, we're working hard to recruit certified teachers, which is a challenge in itself. We're going to need about 32 new teachers between this new center. We're also, by the way, working with First Lutheran Church to add about 30 toddler spots over on that church site. The 703 Oak Street is going to add 66 new spots. 24 of those will be infant and 42 toddlers. And what that means is 66 kids are going to get the best start in life possible and be fully prepared when they enter kindergarten. And also 66 families are going to be able to continue or enter the workforce. So that's significant. Thank you for your thoughtful support of this project and for the many home care providers and other child care centers. As I mentioned, we're just a part of this, and I know that everybody would like to extend their gratitude. Together, we're working hard to make sure that every kid has access to affordable and quality daycare. So I'd like to finish up with just a recent email that I received from a parent, because this is the why, the WHY. And this is directly from an email I received just yesterday. And I met this parent out on the soccer field a few weeks ago as I was chatting with parents. I mentioned this to you in person too, but I wanted to say it again. Thank you to you and your staff. Our son is thriving in your daycare program. His mood, attitude, resiliency, imagination, helpfulness, patience, and curiosity have all improved and increased since starting the Y. We're grateful for the experiences he's having and the things he's learning. Far too often, Macy, our child care director, receives a call from a parent literally in tears because they've looked everywhere and they can't find a spot for their infant or toddler. We're proud to be a part of that solution, so I'll just conclude with thank you. And another thank you, because I referenced the soccer field. Just last night, we wrapped up our third summer working with the City of Brainerd and the Parks and Recreation on administering our youth recreational sports program. Soccer finished last night, and I was out there myself, as I often get out there. But we had almost 500 kids participate in youth sports this summer, and they all had a fantastic time. It makes me smile, it makes the parents smile, but if you could see the kids, the fun they're having out on the field, it makes a difference. So also the fields, JC's Field, when we first started there, I had little hesitation about the site. We want to provide the best program in the best location. And I would say that this summer, the fields have been excellent. So thank you for the work that you've put into making that field not just usable, but looking really great. We're proud to put the programs on there. So it's a wonderful partnership. Anything that we can do with our city partners, just let me know if you have ideas. We're always ready to be a partner. So if you have any questions, I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Riffle. Any questions?
I just got to say, I hear Norson does great work. Great song.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Of Shane. I've been on these various city boards for 20-some years. My question is, why is daycare so hard to find? And my premise before, yes? Your microphone's on. Oh, my apologies. Why is daycare so hard to find? And what I know through my daughter is, if you want to find daycare, you have to get on a list. You're going to pay astronomically more than you ever have by leaps and bounds. If you have an infant, you're on a longer list. And if your daycare provider decides not to work one day, you still have to pay them. So,
Sometimes, yeah.
and if I had, outside of Marlboro Lights, Mountain Dew, and lottery tickets, I know of no other business where you can force people to stand in line in the rain, pay 3 times more than expectations, and then pay when they don't get the product. How can everybody not be a daycare provider? I mean, I would want, and you can do it from your house with no nights and no weekends. I don't understand.
Yes, it's complex, and I always compare daycare to a three-legged stool. Number one, you have to have a quality curriculum and program. You have to have the space, and you have to have the teachers. So what it boils down to is there really is no profit margin in daycare. When you look at the space that you have to operate from, paying the teachers, the food that you're providing the kids, there's really no margin in it. And when you add on all of the regulatory hurdles that you have to follow, that adds expenses and time and problems. People have gotten frustrated, and home care providers especially, I believe, have left the market because of that. And the ratios, right? Infants, you have to have 1 certified teacher for every 4 infants. It's 1 to 8 for toddlers and 1 to 10 or 12 for preschoolers. And then as the older kids get, you don't have to have as many staff. So that's another issue. It's the space, it's the margin, it's the regulations. So all of those things contribute to this problem where people have left the industry. You need it. Also, the expectations, I think, we have underpaid teachers. When I first arrived at this Y, we were paying someone with a 2-year degree certification, a professional who is shaping the lives of our kids, $10.25 an hour. That's just not a livable wage. There was no benefits. Many of these providers don't offer benefits to the teachers. And again, these are the people working with our kids. So we've worked hard, and right now we've raised the wages up to $16. When we open the new center, our goal is to offer $18 for certified teachers. In my opinion, that's still far too low. So those are, it's many things that contribute to why there's not enough daycare and why it's so expensive.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Shane. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 7C. This is the setting of the 2024 preliminary EDA tax levy request. Connie, please.
Thank you. So the preliminary levy needs to be set by the City Council by September 30th, 2023. The city's levy that is set in December can be lower but cannot be higher than the preliminary levy. At this point, the City Council is looking for the EDA board to set the preliminary tax levy. How the EDA proposes to spend the funds by line item can be determined in the upcoming months. Historically, the EDA board has requested the maximum allowed by state statute. For 2024, this is $186,812. This is an increase of $33,951 over the 2023 maximum amount allowed. The city saw a significant increase in the market value of the city, so that's the increase. So it's a $34,000 increase. So if we look at the revenue and expenditure report that was provided on the consent calendar, it looks like we had a balanced budget with $152,000 as the tax levy request. However, there was $10,380 that were left over from the consultant amount that we had set aside originally. So with that, I'll leave it up to the EDA board to discuss what they would like the request to be to the City Council for preliminary levy.
Very good. Thank you, Connie. All right. Does anyone not want to request the maximum amount? Okay, very good. Yeah, let's talk about it. Please.
Oh, did you were?
I took my hand down. I was just ready to make a motion. If you have discussion.
Yeah, I know that over the last year, market values went up quite a bit. I know that the taxes associated with that obviously went up a lot, and it's hard for businesses, it's hard for individuals as well. I think we should be able to operate at the 152,861, same as last year, just not to increase that burden. I know it's a small increase, but just to keep it the same as last year, not to increase that burden to everyone who lives in Brainerd.
Very good. Any other discussion? Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of asking for the 0.01813% as a request from the EDA. If it's not granted, or if when we get into the details of our budget, we don't need it, it can be lowered all the way up until December. It can't be increased back up to 186. But I think we request that because even if all the consultant contracts stay the same next year, which I don't think they will be, but if they do, this creates another $35,000 on top of the 10 excess we have now, and that's $45,000 that we could create into a revolving loan program or some of the other initiatives we've been talking about as an organization. If we keep it at 152, we're still just shoveling all that money out the door and unable to fund any initiatives we may have as a board. So I'm in favor of the max.
Anyone else? Yes, please.
I'm going to agree with Gabe on that one, even though it's a lot less than $843,139,100 that we had in 2022. It's a I would push for the maximum amount for the EDA just because of the fact that I think it's some of the most important funding that we have for the city, and it gives us a little more freedom to open up for some different types of programming. So I'm comfortable with the maximum.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, with that, I'll be looking for a motion here. Please? Yeah, well, there you go.
I'll motion to request the maximum.
All right, we have
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote here. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to our framework discussion. I believe this is James.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll just provide a quick update here on some upcoming deliverables as well as some recent activity from the city of Brainerd. Upcoming deliverables in the next agenda topic, we'll be discussing potentially setting up a workshop. Visit Brainerd is close or has finalized the draft website as well as a logo and slogan and would like to present that to the EDA. Also stay tuned for scheduling for BRE interviews. The city finalized a list of 10 that we've reached out to some and we'll be reaching out to the rest of them to set up scheduling. Also, from the last workshop that the EDA had, directed staff to, well, we worked on the Westwood Mobile Home Park and to reach out to the owners of the park, as well as consult the city attorney regarding City Code Section 435, which is regarding the closing of manufactured housing parks. Staff did reach out to the owners after the 4th of July. They were interested in the property being listed or put on the EDA website as a potential redevelopment property. So staff will be working with Swanson Hascamp on what that page would look like. Also regarding City Code Section 435, after consultation with the city attorney, he did say that there would be no issues with potentially removing that, so staff will bring that to the next EDA meeting for consideration. At that point, state statute would just go into manufactured housing, manufactured home closings, as well as making use of the Manufactured Home Reallocation Trust Fund. This would just kind of clean up and make it less confusing for a potential redeveloper on which code to use, whether state statute or city code. It'd be much easier for them to take a look at and know the cost for redevelopment. Also at the October meeting, SHC will be presenting a concept plan for the Wright Street as well as the Brainerd industrial properties, looking at potential future uses for that and concept plan and master planning for those. DDBC did mention the parlor that they held on Wednesday the 26th, as well as the last one will take place on October 25th for the business owner social meetings. A couple of activities to highlight from the city of Brainerd. At our last workshop, we discussed the idea of potentially having mixed-use development along the commercial corridor district, which is the Washington Street area from the river kind of to the Cub Food area. As part of that, it was presented to the Planning Commission at the last meeting. Planning Commission also seemed interested in that, so that is going to be added to, Planning Commission has a list of different zoning code I guess, considerations that they're looking at throughout the year, so that'll be added to the list. But in conjunction with that, they also do want to look at kind of the design standards that would go into multifamily or mixed-use development along the commercial corridor district, so it'd be kind of a code review of both sections of the zoning code. And then also with that, staff was directed to check in on how that would potentially affect part of that district is already into the river to rail section, which we waive sack and whack. EDA did discuss also extending the full Washington Street to waive sack and whack as well. So staff did attend a BPU coordination meeting to discuss what waiving the sack and whack fees would look like for any kind of future infrastructure in there and how that would affect it. So staff did present that to BPU as well as city engineer, and they are looking into that, and I should have an update for that in the October meeting. With that, I think those are all the updates from the city, and I can certainly answer any questions from the EDA.
Thank you. James, any questions for Mr. Kramvik? All right, very good. We're going to move on to our last item. We're trying to set up a workshop here. This is you again, James.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is in relation to the Visit Brainerd's scope of services for the website, logo, and slogan. So staff is looking for the EDA to direct staff to send out a poll for availability, probably either end of August, early September, sometime in that area. We thought a workshop would be a good setting for presentation and dialogue of ideas and what that final website and logo would look like. And then in addition to that, it would be also a good time to consider kind of moving forward what the EDA wants to see with potentially consultants or kind of the long-term vision of the EDA. So kind of two different topics for the workshop there. So with that, staff is recommending the EDA direct staff to send out a poll for availability to schedule a workshop to review and discuss the EDA website, logo, and slogan, as well as discussion on the future vision of the EDA.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kramvik. I'm wondering if we can give him just a little, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if we send out a poll instead of just looking at our calendars right now, Tony, can we have like fewer than 36 options on meeting times? That's just option paralysis. I don't fill it out.
I was going to see if we could just whittle it down to either at least morning or evening first, and just see if we can get close here to help with the doodle poll. So yes. I'd propose 1 month from now, which is another Thursday. It'd be August 31st, again in the morning, but to start.
Depending on how long this workshop will be, evening might work better depending on how long. Are they hard parameters? That's a question.
How long do we think it'll take? 2 to 3 hours?
I'd probably say 1 to 2, somewhere in there.
I thought we had a 2-hour maximum. I thought it was in the bylaws.
I think that might be your bylaws.
Oh.
Yeah, that was just a starting point. So if
36
let's assume it's a 2-hour meeting. Do people prefer evening or morning?
Personally, Mary and I will both need to be here, so during the workday would work better for us because our kids will be out at Camp Vanastic, but we can make anything work except for the 31st because we'll be out of town that night.
Okay, got it.
There's also Tuesday the 29th.
Tuesday the 29th, correct.
That looks great.
Not good for me on evening, but we're gonna let's just turn Tony loose with,
9 o'clock on the 29th.
Yeah, let's go to sometime during the last week of August, first week of September. Just give us the barrage of dates and times. We'll see what happens, assuming a 2-hour meeting. So
Just
We tried.
noting that Monday, the 28th would not work because
Yeah,
that's
we have
the
your
date
tour,
of the
right?
Main Street.
yeah. Okay, well. All right, you don't need a motion on this, right? Okay, very good. We're gonna go, let's see here, back to the top, sorry, guys. And it looks like we are up to staff reports. Who'd like to start? Yeah, please, Tyler.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, happy to start. I just want to give everybody an update for what's going on with the Main Street revitalization grants. As some of you probably know, Don Hickman has been selected as their president at the Initiative Foundation, interim president until they have someone new hired. So he's serving a handful of roles right now, which is just kind of keeping his updates to us at a minimum. But we did get an update yesterday on all the projects, and I'll just give you kind of a quick rundown on a few of these. Yesterday's Gone, Cattails, the Quick Wash, Music General, all of those that the Initiative Foundation has invoiced deed for those, so they should be getting paid. We have the ADAPT family, martial arts, the Legion, Copper Cat Escape Games, First Impressions, one of Perringer's projects, Stangler, the Gallery, Wagner Holdings, all of those have been paid already. The big one, obviously, that's outstanding is the 805 Laurel, and I know Eric's on the line, and I don't know if Jennifer or anybody has an update on that. There seems to be a little bit of concern from Initiative Foundation standpoint on the timing of that project and making sure that they can actually have incur some costs by November. So it is a concern of theirs, and so we're waiting on that as well, because if they can't get their project started, incur some costs by November, it's basically $120,000 out there that you would need to reallocate quickly. So we're staying on this one, but we can only everybody can only move as fast as they do. So I'd hate for a project of that size to not be able to utilize some of this funding. So it's a concern, and Don's note is that they have gone through. He said he needs to move forward, or you'll be stuck with a large amount of money to reallocate in a short amount of time. So I don't know if anybody, the city, or if Eric on the line has an update on that. That would be great. So we can start moving on that. Then the other ones, and I'll let Eric respond in a second here. All of the other ones that are set out there, we have a handful of Perringer's projects. Most of these are just waiting out for bids and documentation. The Mickey's one indicates that the Initiative Foundation will be invoicing deed on that one here very soon. And then obviously the YMCA's project, and then he's also working on getting another update from Teeny Bubbles. So it seems like everything's moving forward, and they continue to move these forward. It's just that the big one's hanging out there, so it's a little bit of a concern from their standpoint. And obviously, if you'd have to make some pretty quick decisions as a subcommittee around what you'd like to do with that if they give us a hard, we can't get it done kind of answer. I guess you'd say it that way. We've also just update where our staff is surveying and pulling the businesses along Washington Street. They've made 25. They've made contact with 25 of the businesses so far. 7 of them have completed the survey. So we hope by sometime in September that we'll be able to provide a detailed response in regards to some of the survey questions and some of the answers we're getting back. So still working on that.
Very good. Thank you, Tyler. Just quickly, I'm going to just jump in. I'm just going to throw this out there. Potentially the subcommittee could meet and have a plan in place for that money, assuming that potentially that money isn't placeable. So I'm wondering if, just throwing that out to the EDA group to see if maybe we should just meet and just have a plan in place so that if we get word, we don't have a month of lag time trying to get a meeting and then reallocating. But
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we think that might be a good idea. If November's, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. I think we should set a subcommittee meeting before the last regularly scheduled EDA meeting, before that deadline. I will say, DW Jones was at the recent HRA meeting, and it was indicated to them that all they need to do is engage with architects and engineers and cut that first check, and their project is started. So they're confident that'll be done. And I do know the next 2 projects on the list that didn't get funded are currently being done right now without funds, like Severson Porter. And so I'm not worried about not being able to spend the money, but I do think we should
Have the
schedule a
plan
meeting
ready to
have-
roll out just to help.
Yeah, and there's and to Commissioner Johnson's point, there's incur costs. So that's where the language that's coming from DEED is that if they incur costs such as architectural plans, they should be able to allocate those funds out to them.
Very good. So before we move on to Eric, I just have one quick thing. At the most recent Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission expressed some concern with Stangler's qualification or asked staff to look into whether Stangler was correctly qualified with the short-term rental. And I'm just wondering if anything has happened on that, if that's cycled through, and if we have either a yes or a no that everything was done by the book there. And if we're not ready, we can.
Yeah, so I did ask Tyler to reach out to them. I'm not sure if you've gotten an answer yet.
Allison, we haven't heard back from them yet.
From DEED.
Correct.
Okay, very good, thank you. Mr. Charpentier?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I can address a couple of those things and give you an update on the other things that we are working on at the HRA. Apologize for my absence today, but happy to join you virtually. To the point of the DEED Main Street program for DW Jones, as Mr. Johnson had reported, that is the same thing that we've been hearing from Skip with DW Jones, is that, yes, they are able to get this project started with architectural drawings and engage with that side of the project. They do plan to do that. I know they've been certainly busy with a lot of their other projects throughout the state. This isn't the only project they're working on. They did have a number of grant requests that went into Minnesota Housing on July 15th. And then as we've progressed here with this project, I think we're going to start to see some steam and some progress on that. To that point, we have done a lot in the last month with 805 Laurel in that project. The Planning Commission reviewed and the City Council approved the HRA to move forward with a redevelopment TIF district to support that project. We are moving forward with that, and our board on the HRA did approve that last week as well. So again, we're going to start working on what that looks like. It was a critical piece to get that TIF project or process moving at the time that it did, is so they can continue to apply for grant and other funding streams. The council and HRA board also approved the HRA applying for some DEED redevelopment dollar grants, and we successfully got that application in by the deadline of August 1st. We applied for funding of about $501,000 on behalf of DW Jones, again, for redevelopment and demolition primarily. So those, we should hear back in about 6 to 8 weeks on if that has been granted. They are now focusing primarily on Minnesota Housing and waiting for an RFP to come out on their workforce housing program, which is going to be a large portion of their project. So good progress continues to be made. And excited for that opportunity, but I will follow back up with Skip to make sure that those costs are being incurred prior to the deadline that IF needs for those dollars. We don't want to lose them. Quick update on the other project that we had involvement with on the Main Street Revitalization Program at our last board meeting last week. We did approve the grant that we had drafted for Lakes Area Habitat for Humanity. That was the $20,000 that we had pledged to the overall total amount for that grant cycle. And we did successfully get that closed, got it signed, and dispersed those funds to Habitat yesterday. So our portion of that grant is done. With that, that is really, those are the updates that I've got. I would entertain any questions if any of the commission has any.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Charpentier. Any questions for Eric? All right, well, Connie, do you have anything? Okay, Jennifer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of updates. James and I had the opportunity to tour the Just for Crypto site down at the end of Wright Street on July 18th. fascinating tour, and the Clows have said if anybody is interested from the EDA to take that tour, they would be happy to have you there. I would strongly encourage it. It was just fascinating. Secondly, you have a new software system. I hope that it was okay in this transition. You were kind of one of our guinea pigs to see how this works. We are actually going true and live with it on Monday, so we would love any feedback you have regarding this new software. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Yeah, please.
Question, what's the software system? What are we guinea pigging here?
Civic clerk.
Okay, so I did notice, I don't know if anybody in the city noticed, I did notice that the agenda hit my inbox. It is not posted on the website.
Tony?
It was not last night at 10 o'clock when I looked. I don't bookmark, I Google Brainerd Agenda Center.
I
something I
got it
noticed last
from the website this morning, so when I pulled it up.
I also
Okay,
couldn't
sorry,
get in.
I thought you wanted feedback. I
Clicked
apologize
on,
for
I
bringing
also copied and pasted the address and then put it in, and I was locked out of the agenda as well, so. It's got some glitches.
Thank you very much. We'll check into it.
Okay, commission member reports. Anybody?
Yeah.
Ah, please.
I attended the DDBC downtown business visits this last time, and we stopped by Dragon Forge Games and Fancy Pants Chocolates, and I found it to be very informative and quite fun. And I got a free piece of chocolate.
Good deal.
And also, there is a new business downtown Brainerd creating Forever Jewelry. So if you ever wanted jewelry that you cannot remove, head down there, and they will solder it onto your wrist for life.
Oh,
Here, to the plate in my head.
good to know. Very
Mr.
good.
Chair?
Yes, please.
I also visited Dragon Forge and Fancy Pants. Very interesting, probably from the perspective of the challenges that they face. That we talk a lot about the 8th Street Thrifty White project, and of course, Dragon Forge Games is right on the edge of that. And so there's a whole bunch of challenges, or the particularly location or temporary location. They love where they're at, but that project may create years-long relocation issues. Also, Fancy Pants got the chocolate sample. I went on the 26th to the Parlor. That was absolutely interesting to see that downtown business. And that was, hors d'oeuvres were provided by Blue Oyster, which is the old Winnipeg bar. And that's another new business that I hope we can all support. So thank you.
Very good.
Dating yourself there, Kelly.
In the old Winnipeg bar. Anyone else?
I attended Street Fest and we participated in Naughty Pine Bakery had a tent out there, but I would say it was probably the most well-attended Street Fest I've seen. So I just wanted to commend the planning group for that. And they did a vendor market earlier in the day on Saturday that seemed to bring a lot of traffic both to that market, and I saw a lot of traffic at my business downtown too. So I think that was a really positive addition to that event. And yeah, I look forward to seeing that growing, and hopefully, yeah, I know I've had discussions, and DDBC has had discussions with Cassie Clarkin and just trying to kind of engage more downtown business owners and get them on board with Street Fest, because sometimes it can be a little contentious. But I think overall, yeah, I was really pleased to see the turnout and just all the new activities that were added to that event. So
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? If no one else has anything, we'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Evans.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, guys. 3 for 3, under an hour. 3 for 3. Got cut a little close.
Gabe used to do it